Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Mahaguru Yash Architecture Classes. Sorry. And right now we are practicing for our GATE 2020 architecture exam, and for that we are solving our previous year question paper, and right now we are solving the question paper from 2015. So this is the third part for this paper, and if I'll be linking down all the materials which I share in the description box below. And if you've got any doubt, please do if you've got any doubt, please do write up to my email ID, or we can discuss your doubts in the description box below. So today we'll be discussing from question number 41 onwards. So question number 41 is again match the following, where you have some terms and you have to find the appropriate answer. So topo sheet, satellite image, wavelength and scan lines, and you have some appropriate terms related to it. So topo sheet is basically a sheet which gives you contour lines, which is used by your GIS system. The satellite image is from the path and row. So what happens is, when a satellite sends an image, you will track the satellite with the help of a path and a row. Just like you have a row and a column and you mark a cell, satellite is spotted using that. Wavelength is your spectral signatures, or these days you call it as your software signatures. And scan lines is scan lines is bits in inches. So what does a scan line is used by scanners, and what does scanner do is the image quality per inch. So it is basically that. The next is you have to match some concepts with their explanation. The first is, you have got planned unit development, infill development, transit oriented development, and mixed use development. So I have my notes ready. You can find the link to these notes in the description box below. I will be discussing these planning in very brief. You can go through the notes in your free time. The first is a planned unit development. So it is a type of building development, also as a regulatory process. So as a building development, it is a design grouping of both varied and compatible land uses. So what is done is, you combine one or two land uses if they're complementary to each other. Like a residential unit can have a planned recreational unit because it goes hand in hand. Some residential units can have bits and parts of some commercial units. So this is how it is done. The next is infill development. So what happens is, you have a developed city and you have some unused or vacant parcels of land in between. So you are infill. So these units are being developed. So this infill, as in these are not filled, so these are being filled right now. The next is transitory development. We've been discussing TOD from my first video, and some or the other way TOD is coming in every question paper. So TOD is basically an urban development that maximizes the amount of residential, business and leisure spaces with a walkable distance from a public transport. The next is mixed use development. It's in a very broader scale, and according to this, you are mixing different land uses in a particular area. Hence the answer becomes B. The next question is, you have to arrange the particle size of soil in a descending order. Descending as in from bigger to the smallest one. So a very simple answer. So gravel is the biggest one. So A and B becomes the answer. So obviously it has to be sand. When you break down gravel, you get sand. When sand is again broken down into pieces, it forms small silt particles, and from these particles the smaller version are clay. The answer becomes A. The next question is, you have been given some units and you have to find their actual the SI units. You have given some units and the actual units have to be converted in them, as into your kgs or mlt, we say in our class 12th, into their mlts. So very relatable is Newton. We know that F is equal to ma. Remember this formula, F is equal to ma. Mass is your kg, okay, into acceleration is meter per second square. So Newton becomes kg meter per second square, which becomes S becomes 5. Okay, S becomes 5. Lux is your lumens per meter square, right? Lux is the lumens per meter square, or the illumination flux per meter square of a body is known as illumination. The luminous flux per meter square is illumination, and lux is the unit for illumination. Next you've got joule. Joule is watt per ampere. Power is joule. Power has a value of joule, and joule is VI. And the last we are left with hertz. Hertz is basically cycles per second. What is frequency? Frequency is number of cycles per unit time. Okay. So next question is, you've been given some energy efficient building elements and you have to match them. So you've got solar chimney, earth air tunnel, trombe wall, and chilled slab. So I'll tell you how does these work. So this is how a solar chimney works. So what happens is, you have inlet in the lower level, so the air comes in, the cold air comes in. So what happens, it comes in, circulates in the whole house and comes to this solar chamber. So what happens is, when the air hits this, so this solar chimney is heated by the sun. So what happens is, this cold air now becomes heated up and move upward. Because of this upward movement, you have again an inward pressure of cold wind. So I'll tell you, the cold air drawn into the house through windows and vents, it is drawn to the bottom of the solar chimney, ventilating the house. Sunlight heats up the cool air in the chimney, causing it to rise. Hot air rises out of the chimney, drawing in more cool air. So this can be used in hot countries. The next is again air tunnel. Similar to this, but it is mostly used in your winter countries. So what happens is, you take in your cold air, you put in some exhaust fan, so you have a pressure coming in, continuous pressure. So when the air enters, yes, because of the earth's or the geothermal energy, the air in between this pipe gets heated up and then it is supplied to the house. The next is trombe wall, again used in case of cold countries. So what happens there is, you have a high thermal inertia body wall with some air gap. After some air gap, you have a glass wall. So what happens is, when the sun rays hit the wall, the air in this area gets heated up, it's move upward, and then from this it has two vents, an inlet vent and an outlet vent, and an inlet vent and the outlet vent. From here the air moves inside, since a similar chain is being caused because of continuous air is coming in, so to maintain an equilibrium, some air will obviously remain here, come inside. It first reason is this. The second is it comes in due to normal exchange of heat. This air would cool down and come down. The next is chilled slab. So what happens is, in while laying your slabs, you lay some embedded water pipes. So these water pipes conduct heat. Either it can collect heat or release heat as per requirement. So when you match this, match them accordingly, so you get the answer of C. Next question is, we've been provided with some types of vibrators and you have to tell us where does it apply. So we've got needle vibrator, shutter vibrator, surface vibrator and table vibrators. First I'll be discussing where are they used, and then I'll show you their picture as well. So needle vibrators are basically used in those parts of a building where you try to have negligible air bubbles, and so basically needle vibrators would be used in those areas which take up the maximum load, which is your columns and your slabs. That is why needle vibrators goes to your beam and column. Shutter vibrator is basically used for your retaining walls. So what happens is, if you have your retaining wall something like this, shuttle vibrators are attached to them and they vibrate, and since it's like they're like some systems which are attached to the scaffold or the formwork, and they vibrate the structure. The next is surface vibrator, which is used for your concrete pavement. Obviously, when you are laying your pavement, you need something on the surface. And the last is table vibrator for your precast concrete units. I have some photographs from this, so you can see you have your needle vibrator. You have a needle with this. So this, at your beam and column junctions, you put in that needle and it vibrates. The next is shuttle vibrator. So this machine is attached to your retaining wall formwork and they vibrate. The surface vibrator, as I told you, used for when you want a smooth surface or when you're laying concrete. And then you have table vibrators, which are used in your precast concrete units. The next question, you again have some temporary structures given and you have to find their definition or basically your functions. So the first is scaffolding, formwork, shoring and underpinning. So I have their actual definitions with them. Please refer to them. So scaffolding is basically a temporary structure used to support a work crew and material aid. So you can see when scaffoldings are made, the plate on which people stand and keep their material is known as the scaffolding. Formwork is a temporary or a permanent mold into which concrete or similar materials are filled. So when you lay your beams or columns, you have your formwork. The next is shoring. A shoring is basically a temporarily supporting a building from its foundation level or any level in itself. And then last is underpinning. Underpinning may be necessary for a variety of reasons. In construction or renovation, underpinning is the process of strengthening the foundation. Okay. The next very famous question, where you have been given your scientific names and you have to mark them with your Indian names. A question from landscape architecture, repeatedly asked every year in some or the other forms. So this year you've got Lagestromia speciosa, Acacia fistula, Azarjata indica, and Acacia auriculiformes. So Acacia fistula is Amalthas. Your Azartarachata indica is your neem. Babul is Acacia oliiformis. So Lagestronemia speciosa is your jarl. So in my notes, you can refer my notes, and I've given you a table in which all those very famous important Indian names have been given, and their botanical names have all been shared with this. The next question looks a bit lengthy, but it's very easy. What does it say? So a man starts from his residence and uses the following modes to reach his office. So first he takes a cycle rickshaw to reach the station. Okay, cycle rickshaw. Next, then the train to reach the destination. Followed by an auto rickshaw to the nearby bus stand, and finally a bus to auto. Okay. Which of the following describes his sequences to the transit usage? So kinds of transit usage have been provided and we have to match them. So it starts with a cycle rickshaw. So cycle rickshaw is non-motorized. So you can see the first four options. So it is non-motorized, paratransit, private, or non-motorized. So obviously cycle rickshaw has to be non-motorized. So your B and C gets cancelled out. Next, he takes a train. A train is a mass transit. Yes, because a lot of people are transit. It is not a paratransit. Therefore, D becomes an answer. But let us see in front as well. The next, he takes an auto rickshaw, which is a paratransit. Paratransit is basically this transit system takes you from two different kinds of transit system, as in a motorized to non-motorized, from a public to a private. So these are known as auto rickshaws are known as paratransit system. Even taxis come under paratransit systems. And the last, he takes a bus, which is a public transit system. Let us move on to your next question, which is PMGSY and JNNURM are two Indian government programs which deals with which of the following. So PMGSY stands from Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, and JNNURM stands for Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban and Rural Mission. So as you read PMG, which is Gram Sadak Yojana, so it has to deal with rural areas road development. So PMGSY is rural area road development. So you have rural area road development and rural area road development. Whereas JNNURM deals with urban and rural urban renewal mission. So when I talk about renewal, so you are trying to renew the urban needs. So it cannot be urban transport. It has to be urban basic needs. That is why your A option becomes the correct answer. The next question is, again we have been given some terms and from the planning part, and some descriptions have been given. So I have the correct definitions with them. We'll be discussing them from there. The first is gentrification. So gentrification is basically a process of changing the character of a neighborhood to the influence of more affluent residents and businessmen. This is a common and a controversial topic in politics and urban planning. So what happens is, if some area of a land, some area of a city is not in a good condition, you enrich its development by bringing in high-end people in that. The next is urban revitalization, which refers to a set of initiatives aimed at reorganizing an existing city structure. An urban sprawl is basically the migration of a population from a populated towns to its outer residential developed area. The next is a satellite town, which a satellite town will its own cultural amenities and attributes. So what happens in a cultural town is, you have a main city and you have satellite towns around it. So satellite towns are basically your residential units. So everyone in the morning using public transports come into the core or the main city or the parent city and go back to satellite towns. And the last is Conurbation. So Conurbation is a region comprising of a number of cities, large towns and other urban areas that through population growth and physical expansion have merged to form a continuous urban or industrial development. What happens is you have your city 1 and a city 2, and you have some in between smaller cities. Smaller villages. What happens is this city starts expanding. So after a time this city remains different, but these smaller cities get merged with this city and they form an urban conurbation. So this is what this conurbation means, the spreading of the city. The last question for today's video is, again we have been given some planning concepts and we have to tell who propagated it. So I have a list of some cities. So Plato cities was given by Plato, Garden City by Ebenezer Howard, Brotaker City by F.L. Wright, Radiant City by Le Corbusier, Acrosanti by Paolo Soleri, Neighbor Concept by Clarence Perry and Clarence Steen, both have their contribution to that, and the Linear City by Soria by Matta. So if you want detailed description of these concept, please write up in the description in the comment box below. I'll discuss them in some different video. So guys, this is it for today's video. If you got any doubt, please write up to my email or we can discuss in the comment box below. I'll be linking down all this material in the description box below, and please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching me. Thank you.